podcast joint with Ciara.
Yo, what the deal? This is T-Money, and you are now watching the T-Money podcast joint featuring the illustrious Ciara Ross.
Hey.
So how y'all doing out there today? What's up, C? What's going on?
What's up, man? What's up? You know, I'm just Kit Kat cooling, chilling in these streets.
Kit Kat cooling. That's what you call it? Kit Kat cooling?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. How you feeling?
I'm all right. I'm all white. All right.
Nope.
Anyway, so listen, we have special guests today. I just want you guys to know that I have an affinity for these people because they're definitely truly official entities that need to be recognized. It's my man Masta in the building and Leschea.
Yes. Welcome.
Applause. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? I'm good, man. How you been? Everything good with you?
Everything's good. Good to be here, man. It's been a long time since the Yo MTV couch.
Yeah, no question.
You know?
What's that, about 25 years?
Yeah, listen, earlier we were having a little, just so you guys know, we were having a little
It's
fupa.
nice to meet you.
You know what I mean?
As well.
And we were talking in regards to going back, many years, but it's all good to see you guys. I really appreciate you guys coming today. Really.
Definitely.
So let me just let's start off with this. First off, for many years, right? I never even knew that you guys were together. R&B princess of your magnitude, Leschea, and my man Masta Ace representing Brooklyn. I mean, we talking son of Yvonne. Obviously husband of Leschea, right?
I've never heard that before.
Member of the mighty Juice Crew, right?
Yep.
Salute to the Juice Crew. IU, we had IU on.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Remember a couple of days before he passed away. Rest in peace to my man IU. So let's take it. Let's take it in small doses. Let's go back to the beginning with you, Ace.
Okay.
So you're originally from Brownsville, Brooklyn, correct?
That's correct.
And talk to us a little about your story growing up. Unfortunately, everybody is not from Brooklyn, and every borough and every area has their own story.
That's right.
So tell us a little about your upbringing and, how it was for you when you were young and everything.
Howard Houses, that was the projects that I was born and raised in, grew up in. And in my neighborhood, probably when I was around 12, 13, the older guys would bring equipment out to the park, the basketball court, and set up in the summertime and play music. And so those were my first real experiences with this idea of hip hop. We weren't calling it hip hop.
Right.
It was really more disco that was being played at these parties.
Right.
Donna Summer and that kind of stuff. But
so were you talking late 70s?
Late 70s,
right.
Yeah. My building was I could see the park from my grandmother's window. And as soon as I heard the music, that first sound of that bass, I was like, man, I'm going outside.
Right.
And I'm running down to the park because I want to just be in it. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I just wanted to be there. So older guys would be on the turntables playing. Every now and then somebody would get on the mic and say a couple of rhymes or whatever. But I had to be back in the house before the lights came on.
Oh yeah, and all of us did.
Shout out the great parenting, by the way.
No question.
But luckily, in those summer times that was late. That was almost 8 before the lights came on.
Oh yeah, in the summertime, yeah.
8, 9. So I would be on that fence. I'd climb up so I could look down into the DJ pit and watch them cutting, scratching, dudes rapping, people dancing. But those are my first experiences with this culture.
Right.
And then I started hearing all these tapes coming down from Harlem World and the Bronx and different cats rapping on these tapes. And I just became enamored with it and wanted to somehow be involved and do it. So we started our own little DJ crew in my projects, and we got equipment. I mean, we didn't have the perfect equipment. It's mismatched turntables and a beat up mixer, whatever we could throw together. That was what we had.
Right.
But we would just make tapes. We would just basically get break beats and cut and scratch, and it'd be a 90-minute tape with just us cutting and scratching break beats.
I heard that you had an affinity for the world famous Supreme Team at the time.
Love those guys.
Right.
Love those guys.
How did they shape your whole concept?
Man, listen,
of rapping and everything else?
So I want to say their show started at 2 a.m. to 4.
Right.
And I was already in bed. I would set my alarm to wake me up at 2, press record, go back to sleep.
And you had to literally press record on those radios.
Yes,
right?
2 buttons at the same time. You see, I went with 2 fingers.
Facts.
Facts.
At the same time.
Right.
And I would press record, go back to sleep, wake up in the morning to Christmas.
Right.
I don't know what happened on the radio, but I'm about to get a treat, and I would just play it back and just be like, oh man, just the excitement of hearing those guys on the air. But yeah, absolutely, world famous.
Yeah, they
Dream Team.
were totally official. So, but let me ask you this question. I know coming up, I know for me, I played sports when I was young.
Me too.
Okay, sports was basically my first love. I mean, I played baseball, I ran track. Football was my family's thing. My family,
Right.
Everybody in my family played football. Some of them even went pro. So, and I heard that you were into football. You really liked playing the sport.
Absolutely.
What position did you play?
So first of all, in the neighborhood, that's how I got into football. Just
Right.
playing in the neighborhood. It
Right.
was. If you ever see Fat Albert,
Oh yeah, when they
them in the junkyard,
Right,
and
right.
they putting on all kind of wild stuff to makeshift equipment.
Right, right.
That's how our games were in my projects. Like
Right.
dudes would come out there with the suicide helmet with no chin strap, jeans on with knee pads over the jeans, like
And whatever, Right,
just to
right.
protect
big
yourself.
play.
And we would go out there and we play. And I was one of the younger guys, smaller guys, but this one particular day there was an older guy named Marvell, and they tossed the ball to him and he came running my way, and I'm looking at this huge. He had to be like 4 years older than me, and I'm just looking at him running at me. I'm about to get ran over, right?
Right.
So I just kind of closed my eyes, ducked my head, and he didn't see me and ran right into me and did a somersault.
Right.
The whole projects went crazy. Oh, little man, just he popped him. So everybody's holding me up, and it was like a big celebration. He's like, man, I didn't even see that little dude. But that was the confirmation
That you could actually.
I'm a
play.
football guy. Like
Right, you
I
could play.
officially, I was like, I'm football now.
Right,
so
right,
from that
right.
point forward, I was like, when I go to high school, I got to be a school with football. So I was just locked in on that sport.
What were the opportunities in Brooklyn for you to actually? Because I'm from Long Island, so Long Island, and it's an interesting dichotomy in regards to high school athletics.
Yeah.
Because in high school in Long Island, football was your thing. Football, they had football fields. They had
Yeah,
a whole
fields.
football culture.
Right.
You know what I mean? In the city, in the 5 boroughs, basketball is that thing. They have
Facts.
everything. So if you were in the city and you needed to play football, you had to actually find a school that offered it, right? Did you have a problem with finding the school?
No,
that offered it?
there was quite a few schools that I considered. Brooklyn Tech, downtown Brooklyn was where I thought I was going to go. We had to take a test to get into that school,
Right.
And I think I missed by like 10 points or something.
Oh,
so
wow. Yeah.
so they allowed me to go to summer school. Like if you pass summer school, you can go to Tech.
Right.
So I thought I was going to Tech, but then I didn't end up. My mother told me we were moving to Atlanta. She's
Right.
like, at the end of summer, we're moving to Atlanta. So
Right.
so I'm like, well, why am I going to summer school for? Like,
Right.
so I kind of start slacking off, not really going and not really studying, and then she wound up not getting the job opportunity that she thought she was gonna get.
Oh, okay.
And now she's like, okay, well, we staying in Brooklyn. What's going on with Tech? I'm like, oh, I ain't been going.
Oh, wow.
We got to find another school.
Wow.
So in junior high, back in those days, they gave you a list of school choices, and you just basically listed 1 to 10. If you don't get into your zone school, my zone school was Thomas Jefferson, by the way.
Okay.
You're not going there. That's
Right.
what
We're not- Your mother probably was like, no.
Jeff was a no-go.
Right.
All the hoodlums in my projects went to Jeff. I heard all the stories, getting
Yeah.
robbed, beat
Right,
up,
right.
all this. I'm like,
Right.
my mother's like, you're not going there. So I listed a bunch of schools in Brooklyn that had football teams. I only listed schools with teams.
Right.
Sheepshead Bay was one of the schools that I listed, and they ended up accepting me. So that's where I ended up going.
That's dope. So, and then you went to, obviously, you went to school, and then did you go to school after you graduated high school? Or
Yeah,
did you
yeah. When
go
I
to
graduated,
You have a BA, correct?
in marketing. And I had aspirations of playing college football. So
Right.
all the colleges I was looking at had to have a team. Same
Right.
thing with high school. So
Right.
I was looking at a bunch of different schools on the East Coast because my mother's like, you're not going down south. It's too far. You know, she kind of threatened me not threatened me, but she was like, if you go to one of these schools down in North Carolina, something like that, you're not gonna be able to come home for no 3-day weekends. Ain't gonna be none of that. You're gonna be stuck up there.
Yeah.
3 days. So I was like, so you better pick a school closer to home so you could like jump on the Amtrak. So
Right.
I started looking at Northeast. So Connecticut, Rhode Island. I ended up going to URI, University of Rhode Island.
Okay.
And they had a team and they were 1AA, which in my head, I could play 1AA. I'm
Right.
I'm on that level.
Right,
Because
right.
to me, D2 is like D2.
Like,
please.
why?
Yeah.
Why are we doing that?
Yeah,
Right.
D2.
Okay.
And so I went to URI, And when I got to the campus that freshman year, it was a little bit of a culture shock. Almost no black students on the campus.
And what year are we talking? Like 80?
So I walked in, my freshman year was 84.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So when I walked into that school, I didn't see hardly anybody that looked like me.
That's fact.
Other than a few basketball players and a few track players. Right. But nobody looked like me, and a couple football players. So it was just a tough adjustment. So my mother was like, I know you want to go out for football, but do your freshman year first, get acclimated with college life and what that's like and the schedule and the studying and all of that. And then sophomore year, you can go out for football. I was like, okay. So that was our agreement. And so by the time I got to my sophomore year, after a whole year of not running, not lifting, not working out,
right,
it was tough to get back into the mindset of
playing football. Right.
You can't take a year off.
No,
you just can't. That's not the sport to do that. And so I just I guess I'm a regular student.
Of course, your body gets soft. You're not used to getting hit. It's a lot of
it's a lot. Involved, right? Not to mention that level of football was probably above what I should have been trying to go for. Those guys were way bigger.
No, man. We're not trying to hit that. You could have did one double leg kid. I have confidence that you could have did that.
It's all talk, but that I went to one of their practices, right? And I'm in the stands watching them practice, and I'm looking at the different guys. I'm just kind of sizing dudes up, like that dude's little. He's small. So I picked out like one or two guys that was like, to me, small from where I'm standing in the stands. Practice is over, they come together, I go down on the field, and I walk up to the guy that I thought was small, and he's like 2 inches taller than me. I'm like,
wow. So he's not really small.
Everybody's 6'4" and 5. I'm like, wow, like I'm really not ready for this.
That happened to me too when I went to college. I'm thinking I'm the biggest guy on campus, but that wasn't the thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was.
Especially that culture shock too. You walk into a class. I walked into a class of 60 people, like one of those lecture hall joints. Yeah, and I did not see a black face. He was crazy.
It's different.
Crazy.
It becomes very terrifying.
Yeah, it was bugged out when you were away from home for the first time. It's bugged
That's
out.
when you start to have the conversations with yourself.
Right. Like, did I make the right choice? Right.
Yeah.
I told my mom after freshman year I want to transfer to Howard. Like I was like, I want to transfer to Howard. Yeah.
You need an infusion of black people.
I need to see nothing but. Like I want to be out. And so she was gonna let me transfer, but she's like, just do sophomore year. Sophomore year, first semester. If you still feel that way after sophomore year, first semester, we'll work out getting you transferred to Howard.
Right.
And that sophomore year, they had an influx. There was a program out there called Talent Development, where they basically recruit black high school students from the state to come to the school. And like 150 maybe black students came in, and all of a sudden I had a social life. I'm like, oh, this is all right. I can mess with this.
That's dope.
And they were cool and all that. So I just immediately had a little bit of a presence on the campus, and I was good.
Right.
Now, had I transferred, I'd have been in there with Puff, D-Dot,
at the same time, right?
Mark Pitts, which who knows what
could have transpired.
That could have turned into, but I ended up, staying.
So what?
Speaking of what has, transpired throughout, we definitely have to. Oh man, this is just such an honor. We just got to break down the layers. I want to make sure I get this correctly. It was the United States Rolling Rink or something like that?
United Skates of America.
Yes.
Skates of America.
Yeah. How did that totally change your life that evening? Because you went in there thinking so little and came out with something so rewarding.
Yeah. So it was they had a rap contest, and my boy Scooter Rockwell, rest in peace, called me and said, "Yo, they having this contest at USA. You want to roll?" And I'm like, "All right, tell me where to meet you on the train." And we met on the F train all the way out to, I don't know what part of Queens that is. It's like, thank you, Jackson Heights, Queens. And I entered the contest. I had never rapped on stage by myself before. And definitely not in front of
the first time,
strangers.
Right.
But for some weird reason, I wasn't nervous. I mean, that's that Brooklyn confidence. Like, I got this. Like, I'm gonna show these dudes. Like, so it was about 30 people that day that entered the contest. And I was like right in the middle, like maybe like 15th or so. So I had seen like about 15 people go, and they were all doing kind of the same style of rap. They were all rapping off Tila Rock, It's Yours. Like about at least 8 people rapped off Tila Rock, It's Yours. So I knew I had something different than what everybody was doing. I had this Lottie Dottie-esque kind of story about this girl and this little sexcapades and little funny ending and surprise ending and all that. So I actually I programmed my boy Scooter's drum machine on the F train on the way to the contest. Like programming so it matched my rhyme and dropped out on the right lines. I did all of that on the train.
On the train.
On the train.
Yo, listen, producers understand something. He programmed his joint on the train. So don't give me no excuses. I don't have the right studio. I don't have this, that, and third. Right. Listen, that's real right there. So I'm sorry, bro.
Yeah, no. So I programmed the joint, and then I got up there when my turn came, and I did my rhyme or whatever. And the first part of the rhyme was a joint. It was a rap called Silver Suckers, where I was rapping about people wearing sterling silver, because sterling silver had way played out. Like,
wow,
it was not. You had to wear gold.
You had to wear gold.
So it would just so happen. The universe. It was a dude in the audience with like Mr. T sterling silver on.
So you had to point him out.
So everybody, I didn't have to. The crowd thought I was rapping about him. So everybody's like, yo, he talking about him. So that was the first part. And then the second part of my rhyme was this joint called A Hoe is a Hoe, about girls and this and that. And so it was a bunch of different little one-liners where the music dropped out and got to hit a punchline and everybody went crazy. And nobody else did a rhyme anything like that. Close, everybody was just rapping about how dope they were. And so I ended up winning the contest, and first prize was 6 hours of studio time with Marley Marl.
So that's how you guys linked up, man. That's dope.
Yeah.
That is dope. And that turned into something that historically we all know was the best thing in the world. Like, listen to me. It was. That was like fried chicken. Let's keep it 100. That was like fried chicken. Ain't nothing better than that, you know.
Absolutely.
But listen, so your first song, and tell me if I'm wrong, was the Symphony, correct?
First song that y'all heard.
That we heard, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But I did a bunch of demos, obviously, at Marley's crib, and one of my demos he played on the air on BLS one time, once or twice he played it, joint called Howard Park, but it never got pressed. It wasn't like an official release,
song, right? But the first nationally song that everybody heard you on was so. Let me tell you, right? Craig G, my guy. So I heard that you and Craig, you rode up to the video shoot,
the photo shoot,
for the joint, and then listening to you on that song, because you listen to everybody really set it off. But when I listen to you on that song, your style is like different than everybody's, and you. And your voice was mad refreshing when I first heard it.
It tastes the hunger.
Like you could hear it, and you could feel the fact that he was dead ass serious. Like he was for real. So I really am saluting you on that, because the Symphony itself is a song that we all love and cherish. It ushered in a bunch of songs that that came after it. And you actually literally killed it. I mean, we're talking about songs like Flavor in Your Ear, 24 Hours to Live, Andy Up, all these other songs historically over time, they came after that song, So after that song came out and you guys, obviously, blew up. You got blew up, quote unquote, right? At the time, come on, it was, I remember programming the song and the video and we all had a matter of fact, I think during that time at MTV, we had a conversation, and we were having, we actually had a discussion about who we thought, this is internal, we had a discussion about who we thought did the best on the song. Okay. So, everybody said King, because of his line, put a quarter in your ass because you played yourself, that became a big deal.
Right.
But I screamed your name and Craig, because Craig's my people, so I had to holler at him. But I said you first, because for a song like that to work, you have to have, the intro has to be dope. But nobody's gonna listen to the song after that. You can say anything you want to about the end of the song. If the person that's rhyming first doesn't catch the ear, doesn't work. And you did your thing. So salute to you. Salute to my man.
Thank you.
To everyone on that track.
And nobody wanted to go first, right?
That's right. So tell me about that. I heard that too. Nobody wanted to go first.
That's the only reason I'm even on that song, is because they were debating about, between Craig G Rap and Kane, who was gonna go in the booth and set it off. Right. And nobody wanted to go first. Probably because they wanted to hear what other dude was gonna say.
Right. And fix their rhymes.
Yeah, because I gotta fix something, or he said something ill, let me change my joint. So they were back and forth about, you go first, you go first, you go first. And that's why you hear Marley on the song say, I don't care who first or who last.
Oh,
that's why he
okay.
said that, because there was this whole debate happening. And so he just looked over at me like, yo, Ace, you got something for this? Like, I wasn't supposed to be on that record. You got something for this? I'm like, I stay ready, but let's go.
Facts.
I got a
Why
bunch.
get ready when you can stay ready, right?
That was just one of my verses that I had. Like, I didn't write it to that beat. It wasn't supposed to be for that. It was just I walked around with at least 10 to 12 battle rhymes in my head for any situation. So that was just one of them memorized joints.
And that right there is a true artist.
Right, he was ready.
Literally, like he said, for any situation.
That's
so
what
I'm
you're
kind of
supposed to
scared
be.
to even catch you on the street to this day. Like
I'm not the same animal back then as I was back then. Yeah, but I hear you.
But after the symphony drop, you started putting out your own material, right?
Yeah, my first album came out on Coachella in 1990. Take a Look Around.
Yeah, Take a Look Around. That's the album that you was chilling on the sand with the yellow on, and I think I had that outfit too. I think I still got it. You know, I got the hat and all that. You know what I mean? So together.
We'll be looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna break that out. Okay, because I was crazy. I used to wear all kind of stuff, but I think I got that same outfit. Me and my man D was just talking about Playboys and British Walkers today.
Love it.
I think I'm gonna have to pull those out. You know what I mean? But so Together and Letter to the Better, right? With the singles.
That was
Yeah, man. So and they were produced by Marley, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I mean, the album was dope, and I was very excited about your career. So at that point, you would start building a reputation for yourself as being, actually you were building a reputation at that time as being one of the best artists that came from New York. I mean, even if you didn't know, I'm telling you, that's what your reputation was. Because at that time, everybody was talking about you because you were on fire. So tell us a little about your ascension at that time. I know because the symphony set you off, but then you started doing your own stuff. And it kind of happened for you. It seems like it happened for you quick, I know you were in another mode, and then all of a sudden, boom, right?
Well, that first album was just me trying to flex my little muscles or whatever, spread my wings. I'm the pressure of being on a label with Kane, G-Rap, Biz, Shan, Shantae, like everybody's dope, and like you just want to make sure that you at least measure up to what they doing.
Right.
So that album was just me, just basically just trying to show people I could rap. I could rap too. I rap pretty good too. Like, that's really
me too. Be me. Ooh, be me.
That's really
I could do that too, son.
Yeah, that's really what that album was. But then I left Cold Chillin' after that first album, and I signed to Delicious Vinyl, which is a label on the West Coast.
Yeah, I know about Delicious Vinyl. Yeah.
And it was that second album, Slaughterhouse, when I started producing my own. I wasn't with Marley anymore. I started producing and co-producing my own music, and really being the orchestrator of how the album was gonna sound, what tracks were gonna get used, what was the hook gonna be. Like all of a sudden I was just in that mode, and that was my first time kind of being out on my own.
So salute the Delicious Vinyl because they allow you to do that. A lot of times they don't let the artists do that. You know what I mean? So
I honestly don't think that they just assumed I knew what I was doing.
Okay.
They had no clue.
Really? Wow.
So yeah, they signed me and gave me an advance. I was like, don't worry, I got this. We good. And I went in the studio and I had a bunch of different producers and friends and creatives in the room with me, and everybody's bouncing ideas off of each other. And we think about this for the hook. Nah, that's not good enough.
Right.
But yeah, I was kind of like controlling what was happening in the room, but there was other talent that was also contributing to what we were doing.
Now, Ace, when you were developing your talent and your skills, what made you decide to be such a conscious and concept artist? Like, what made you say, you know what, I'm not going to be like everybody else? This is the type of lane that I want to project. This is what I'm going on.
Just that. Just the desire to not be like everybody else. Like to be a little bit against the grain of what I hated that following that, that mold of what everybody's doing. I'm going to do the same thing because that's working. I just always wanted to be against the grain with everything that I've always done. So that's why Slaughterhouse was like the anti-gangster rap era, because that was what was happening in 93. Everybody was trying to be rough and rugged and rapping about 40s and blunts and guns, and I'm like, I'm gonna be opposite of that. So it was just that's what always drove me to just go against the norm.
Yeah, because historically that's what the music industry does. I mean, someone becomes famous doing one thing, so now 30 artists.
Yeah.
You know, and the labels even push that. Oh,
Yeah.
you should be more like this person.
Yep.
You know, where's your records about guns and violence? We need that for your album. And,
Yep.
you know, they kind of direct that, you know,
Yep.
and what happens is, you know, the music gets watered down.
Yeah.
You know, creativity gets watered down. You know, it's just not a good energy, you know, and that's why we're kind of at the place that we are now creatively, you know.
And speaking of creativity, some of your fans actually want to know throughout your career, because you know you didn't sign the record label and things like that, and of course we'll get into that. But what made you not drink the Kool-Aid, as they say?
Well, tell me the Kool-Aid. What the Kool-Aid is first.
Maybe he drunk it.
Maybe he drank it. We don't know. That's right. Leschea, tell him maybe he drank it. We don't know.
You know, we'll say "Sell Your Soul," because I believe one of your records. I don't want to mess up the song, but you mention it, and it could be "Story of Me." In that record, I believe you do mention you could have signed X, Y, and Z. You have a line in there.
Yeah. It just didn't feel right to me, you know. I definitely have my moments where the industry, where record sales, where radio play, you know, I got the label in my ear saying stuff, which is influencing me to creatively do something maybe slightly different than what I would have done if they would have just shut up. So that pressure is always on. When you're signed to a major, like that's a constant. It's always at these meetings and these, you know, you get these emails and these, you know, and you feel like if you don't conform to some degree of what they're saying, you might be out of there.
Right. If you don't acquiesce to what they're saying,
they're gonna sign the next guy.
Yeah, because you don't fit the suit now.
Right.
And that's kind of ridiculous.
So, you know, but I will say that I did record records that I'm not proud of, that never saw the light of day, but that were records that I was trying to appease the label by doing certain records that I really didn't want to do. And then when I got to that point where they were asking me to go further, I just was like, nah, I can't do it, and I got dropped. But that wasn't Delicious. That was Big Beat Atlantic.
Atlantic, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So talk to us, both of you, Leschea. Talk to us a little in regards to your career as well. I know you were signed to Warner. You know, you worked with Ace. You know, and
And then they fell in love.
They fell in love. You know. Hey, yo, Sha, we gotta put hearts here. You know.
So I guess I should go a little bit back before I got signed to Warner Brothers.
Okay.
When I met Ace.
Okay.
I call him Pooh. So.
Oh, wow. That's what I'm talking about.
Hey, Pooh.
Actually, all of my friends call him Pooh.
Okay.
He's Pooh.
Okay.
So anyway.
That's facts.
So I was at the time, I don't know what year it was. It could have been like 95 or something like that. I was working, had a regular job, city job. I was working at the Environmental Protection, Department of Environmental Protection. We had a mutual friend. My friend told me, I know this guy, he's looking for a singer. And, you know, I sung in high school, a little bit in college. Well, he calls it the 13th and 14th grade because I went to City College.
Oh, wow.
But I did like plays and stuff like that. Right. And I was like, all right, you know, I'll see what's up. She introduced us. He said, sing something. I sung something. He liked it. I think he was kind of more like, I mean, not to say that he didn't like my sound. I know he probably did, but he probably liked the overall package.
Oh, okay, there you go.
She reminded me of Left Eye.
Oh, really?
At that time?
You know, I was tomboy.
She had the right look.
Yeah.
It was just like, this is gonna be good.
She fit. Yeah.
She gonna make it.
So he heard me sing. Soon after, he said, listen, I'm about to do this tour. Do you want to go on tour with me? Okay, so it was kind of like that.
Okay.
I didn't know what to do because, like I said, I had a good job.
Right.
But I said, you know what? I just put 2 beans in a bucket. I said, fuck it.
That's right.
I took the chance.
That's right.
I went on the road with him. It was Masta Ace Incorporated. Those who know. It was the 4 of us. I was the singer. I did the hooks for them. And, you know, we did shows, and soon after that was going on, I got an offer from Warner Brothers Records. That's another story. I'm trying my best to give you the short version.
Yeah, no question. You can keep talking. We got all day. We good. Don't worry.
Being on the road with him gave me that opportunity and allowed Warner Brothers to notice me.
Right.
So, you know, here I am. I'm a 20-something-year-old kid. I got this major record deal, and I came out with a song. My first single was How We Stay, shout out to Red Alert, because if it wasn't for him,
he dropped it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no
the
question.
love, I love Red Alert.
Let me tell you something about Red Alert. Red Alert dropped me and Dr. Dre's first single.
Yo.
But we'll get into that in a minute because your husband used it. We won't even discuss that. Right? We will get into that in a minute. But he dropped our first single. And isn't it amazing to hear your record on the radio?
Yo, listen.
Isn't it?
I heard my record. Well, Fulton Street was my second single, which was my biggest situation. Most people know me from Fulton Street.
Right.
I'm from Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn.
Okay.
Fulton Street. Those who are from Brooklyn know what Fulton Street is to Bed-Stuy. And, you know, I got a lot of love from my borough. I went on a little tour. That was even more love because I didn't know at the time there was a Fulton Street in every city.
Right.
So, you know, even though I'm not worldwide or, you know, mainstream, I had minor success. But big success for my borough.
Major girl,
what are you talking about?
Hold on.
Let's stop. Let's be clear right now. Applause to you, Leschea.
You know, so
I like the fact you're humble. It's all
these
good.
R&B chicks is not gonna erase me out of history.
That's right.
I'm down too.
Yeah, holla.
All right.
That's holla.
Anyway.
Speaking of that, real quick, what was some of the hardships that you faced back then? As a female coming in, because guess what? Technically, right, you were kind of governed because you had a man next to you. So it would have possibly been different if you didn't have them. Just a smidget.
I would say, well, he probably wouldn't have anything to do with it. I would say, like, maybe some of my hardships because I didn't look like them. Like, you know, a lot of R&B chicks was, you know, with the cat suits and stuff like that. I was, like, really with the baggy clothes and the Timberland boots and the hats to the back. And, you know, so... You know, I wasn't like them. You know what I mean? But I feel like the guys embraced me more because of that, because I wasn't like them. Because even though I was a tomboy, I wasn't masculine.
Yeah, you're still feminine.
I was still feminine. So, you know, and despite what people think, during that time, we were not together. Okay?
Okay.
He had a whole situation. I had a whole situation. Like, we living our lives.
Right.
It wasn't until, like, way after I started recording my album and, you know, our situations kind of dissolved that. Because, I mean, in all fairness, he wasn't really my type like that. You know what I mean?
Wow. Okay. Oh, did you know? Did she tell you this?
Well, I wasn't... I didn't view her in that way either.
Okay, well that's what's up. Okay, good.
The feeling was mutual.
It wasn't like that. You know what I mean? I was young. I was immature. Like, I'm a young artist. Like, my type is what you driving. You know,
facts.
I wasn't into
back
that.
Then.
Yeah, back then.
Facts.
But I eventually, we became friends first. Like, I can call him and tell him, listen, this nigga, whatever. He could call me and tell me about, you know, a situation with him, with a female. And I'd be like, well, where's she at?
That happened.
Where's she at? Like, because we were like
the best relationships usually start off as friends. Right.
And then, you know, it was a gradual situation where this friendship turned into, like, we fell in love from that situation. I'm speaking for myself. I fell in love with his inside. Like, first of all, I'm attracted to intelligent men, you know, like I'm attracted to, you know, it's a soul, it's a vibe, you know what I mean? I mean,
listen, baby.
That's what I'm attracted to.
Because that lacks today. You know, hold on, fellas. I know this is the T Money podcast joint featuring, you know, C real quick. But no, this right here, all the cameras, all of them.
For real.
This is a real thing.
I'm into depth. You know what I mean? And all of that stuff on the surface is just, you know, it's fluff. I like and was into who he is as a person, and that is
as
what
you should,
I fell
and
in love
as you
with.
should,
You know, so
because you don't want to be just liking someone on the surface. That's really not going to help you in the long run at all.
I've
You know
been
what I
there,
mean?
done that.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
That's facts.
And that's another reason why we are probably together to this day.
Right.
25 plus years.
Let me explain this to you. Let me explain. Oh yeah, and clap to that.
Yeah, that's
25 plus is worthy of a clap. But listen, what I'm trying to tell you, you know, and this is personal. I haven't spoken to Ace or you in what, 25 years, right?
Other than what's up at a event.
Right. Yeah, I see
Right.
you. I haven't had an in-depth conversation with you, but when I see you guys places, I notice your energy. It's sort of like if I could put a color on your energy, it'd be like a blue halo.
Not a halo.
You know? Because it's always a good energy. You know, like I never have anything negative to say, and I love that about you guys. Like I said, I'm in concert with what's going on here, and I thank you very much for being here today. So
Of course.
I'm all down for power couples, especially our culture, just striving to do something different. So
right. So
salute to you.
salute to you. Salute to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And definitely, you guys are in line for more success in your life. I'm quite sure.
Oh, thank you.
So, but I wanted to ask Ace real quick. I mean, now, very few recording artists get to be part of, like, very few entities in entertainment get to be part of many major things. Like if you're an actor, you'd be lucky if you're part of like Harrison Ford's part of the Indiana Jones series and like Star Wars and like those are life-changing things, right? As a rap artist, that very seldom happens. You have that because you're part of two songs that were part of hip hop history. They'll be part of hip hop's ingraining part of hip hop history forever. Like you're a part of the Symphony,
Right.
which is one of the greatest rap collabs ever. And you're also part of a song called Crooklyn Dodgers,
Yeah.
which was part of the Spike Lee film Crooklyn. Talk to me about this. Well, first of all, let me ask you a question. Which version of the song is your favorite? Reason why I'm asking because
Which version of
the Crooklyn Dodgers song?
oh,
one
one
you
or
know.
two?
Well, yeah, one or two. Right.
She's like, I know that
So-
answer.
No, I'm asking because we had a conversation in regards to
Well,
that. And,
I'm technically on both
right,
because I did it like that and we do it like this on part two.
right, exactly.
In my show, I perform my Crooklyn 1 verses to the Crooklyn 2 beat.
That beat is crazy.
Yeah, so that's my way of kind of combining both. But I just like the feel of that primo. I just like rhyming over that primo. So I do my verses from Crooklyn 1 to that beat, which gets a good response,
Right.
especially overseas. So
Right.
I like both for different reasons.
Well, that's
Yeah,
cool. Well,
yeah.
but tell me a little about the song. I heard, from what I gather, when you guys did the original song,
Different rhymes.
and Spike didn't particularly like the song at first, right?
He
For the
didn't-
movie.
He didn't say he didn't like it. He was just like, this doesn't really, it doesn't coincide with what the movie is about.
Right,
We're
right.
like, well, we don't know what the movie's about. He was
Right.
like, well, we need to have a screening. So he set up a screening. This had to be a couple months before it actually hit theaters. And it was a small room with maybe 20, 30 seats. And we watched the Crooklyn movie on a big screen. And after we watched the movie, he's like, now go back home. Now that you've seen it, it takes place in the 70s. Like, give me rhymes that embody that time period. And we all went back and rewrote our verses. And that's the song
That's the song you hear now.
ended up with. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's when you see the video too. The video has a lot of those elements.
Yep. They got
you
the
know?
Soul Train line and all that going on. Yep.
Right. Right.
So, Ace, I know I'm going to be jumping around a bit because I want to just make sure I don't forget certain things. But I just wanted to ask you, was soda, what is it?
Soda and Soap?
Soap was
Soda and
for
Soap.
Will Smith? Was that for Will Smith at some point?
Originally it was written for him. He didn't select it for his album. And I'm like, this is a good song. I'm gonna use it for me. Simple as that. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay.
Talk to me about Marco.
Marco Polo, my guy.
Yeah, no question.
Man, so
You did a joint. You did.
We had an album.
A joint called American. First of all, I want to tell you the joint called American Me is
Oh,
is one
wow.
of my favorite.
Okay.
I play that in my car all the time.
that's kind of dope because
That's my joint
it's
right
an album
there. I
cut,
love
and
that record.
only if you know the album
No,
do
I
you
love
know
that
that
record.
record.
I love that
It's not a
record, too.
single, it's no video.
That's facts.
So that's real right
No,
there.
I listen to everybody's joint.
I
You know
appreciate
what I'm
that.
saying?
I appreciate
That record's fire.
Thank
to
you,
me.
man.
You know?
Well, Marco's a brilliant producer, born and raised in Toronto, Canada, but he's been living in he's been living in Brooklyn for 20 plus years now. So he's been living in Brooklyn as long as longer than he was living in Canada when he grew up. So he's technically more of a Brooklyn guy than anything. But he and I did an album in 2018, Brooklyn Story, really successful.
Brooklyn Story. That album is dope.
We got to tour the world, quite extensively off that album. And because it did so well, people wanted another one, and we just finished.
You guys, it sounds like you guys were supposed to be together musically.
That's what people say.
Yeah, it's a good energy.
That's what people say.
Like I hear you on his music, and I'm like, you sound incredible.
Mel Gibson and Danny Glover.
Yeah, fact. You sound dope, bro.
He just, he toured with me as my tour, quote unquote, DJ for quite a few years leading up to us doing an album together. And that's where we got to know each other. That's where we got to, and he would always just send me beats.
Right.
We had a song on his album called Nostalgia that did really well.
Nostalgia is official too.
To my surprise, like I thought it was a cool song. I thought the video was cool, but for whatever reason, the world thought it was like the best thing ever. I was like, all right, cool. So I literally have to perform that song in my shows because of how well it did. But that kind of solidified the relationship in fans' eyes. You guys got to do more songs. Like Nostalgia is my favorite song. Y'all got to do more songs.
It's like 10 million on YouTube.
Yeah, of course. The song's hot, though.
Unbelievable.
But that happens, So that's funny that you looked at the song like. I don't know. Artists are funny. Like, a real quick story. Flavor Flav, as we all know, is a member of the Public Enemy.
Right.
Flavor Flav never really had a single of his own. So when they were working on Public Enemy music, they did a song called 911. As you well know, it's like a huge record.
It's a joke.
Flavor hated the song.
Really?
Like he didn't even want them to release it. He did the song just because they pressured him to do it. Then when they hit the scene, it became his #1 song. So I said that to say like how you look at Nostalgia like it was okay.
I didn't dislike it though.
I know, but I understand that. But you still, the energy is still not like this is.
I didn't think it was going to be what it turned into at all. I liked the song, but I didn't think it was gonna. I didn't think the reaction was gonna be that.
Right, and Flavor didn't think it was gonna be anything because he was like, "This song I'm not really feeling."
You tend to create a lot of things that you didn't realize this would be that. Can we discuss this Biz puppet for a second? Where is the puppet?
The puppet, I think, is gone.
Oh wow, yeah. Where is the Biz puppet? All about that.
I think it's gone.
See, yeah.
I think it officially is gone, but
I thought it was in a museum.
It was in a museum, but that thing was the material that it was made out of. It was falling apart 20 years ago.
Oh wow!
So I know it can't possibly be still, standing. But
Gorilla Glue? No.
Nah. But Crank Yankers, you feel me with that show?
Oh yeah, of course.
They made a new Biz puppet.
Oh, they did.
I hope they gave you credit.
Well,
little tag, something.
It's in the Biz documentary, which is coming out August 11th on Paramount and Paramount Plus and Showtime.
Okay.
And so that puppet is featured in the documentary.
Jeez.
Yeah, and I'm in there with the puppet.
That's dope.
Okay, all right.
That's real dope.
Yeah, we're in the scene together.
That's dope.
That's dope. Part 2.
That's dope. I love it.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you a question. So I just mentioned that I like American Me, the song, right? There's a line in that song that says, "With my life's on the line," right? I'm fighting for mine. Something like that you said on the song. Were you making a referral to, because you battled with MS, correct?
Correct.
So were you referring to that at the time when you made the song, or was it before? Or
no, I wasn't referring to that. I was more just referring to the idea that us as a people are always under attack, and there's always threats to our lives and to our well-being.
Right.
And when it comes to my family, I'm fighting for mine.
Right. Okay.
So,
you're fighting for your family.
Yeah,
right.
That video is sick.
If I'm out there somewhere and some, skinhead dude is in the parking lot talking crazy, like, I'm gonna make sure they're good.
Right.
And whatever has to happen happens, but I'm gonna make sure they're good.
Yeah, but MS is tough. So how do you manage that? Because I know that's
I was diagnosed back in 2000.
Okay.
So
that's quite some time ago.
And you kept it
I've had
for a while, right?
Yeah, I held on to it for about 12 years maybe. I didn't make it public for a good while.
For good reasons.
Yeah, I just wanted to manage it myself. My wife, obviously, my mom's, even a couple of my closest friends, maybe. I think I told Steady like after, like maybe like 5 years in or something. But gradually I started letting friends know. But then it was around 2012, 2013, I decided to just speak on it, make it more of a public thing, because guys that I was touring with didn't know. And it was an incident that happened when we were in Europe. We were in the Czech Republic. We got pulled over by the police. They were just randomly
searching,
pulling cars over, and they saw somebody black was in the front seat. They pulled us over, and they literally pulled every bag out of the car and went through every little pocket in every bag. They were looking for, obviously, weed, whatever.
Right.
But we don't roll like that. But in the midst of that search, they found my meds. So after everything was done, Marco, we were back on the road. Everything was cool, and then eventually, they were like, "Yo, what was that? What was the medicine shit?" And at that moment, I just told dudes.
You had to tell them,
and
otherwise you would have still wouldn't have probably said anything, right?
And that's what led to me just deciding to just speak on it. Make it
happens
public.
like that.
Yeah.
I got sick with cancer, and I didn't tell.
Wow, I didn't know
anybody.
that.
I had cancer, and I didn't tell anybody. I didn't want to formulate this pity party. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's bad enough you're trying to deal with it yourself. Then you got people, you're trying to deal with it and get strong in regards to you having it and dealing with the treatment and going through everything, right? But then when people keep reminding you of it, and they come to you with the sad face, "Are you okay? You're gonna be okay." Like you don't want to keep reliving it.
Yeah.
Because it's triggers.
Right.
Yeah.
So I tried my best not to even make it public. I mean, I was diagnosed in 2007. With cancer. But
you look healthy and well, bro.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. Thank the Lord.
Good health. We gotta keep praying for everybody to stay healthy.
Good. So now let's get to this. I wanted to talk to you directly about this because I don't know how this happened. But the song called "Knowledge Me" by Original Concept is sampled
A favorite of mine.
on your record, Born to Roll.
Yes, a favorite of mine.
Which is my song. And I salute it because you, I mean, just like Jay told Nas, you made a hot track, I made a hot song, so that's good. And I salute you. Born to Roll is a dope song. Everybody gives a salute to him. So who produced it yourself?
I produced it.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that nobody rapped on it. I'm like, why didn't they rap on this?
Yeah, we didn't rap on it.
I just talked over it. I'm like, I'm gonna use this because this beat is too dope and it's Def Jam. Like, it all made sense to me. I found that record in a 99-cent bin in Virginia, I think.
Facts. It probably was,
99-cent bin. I found it. I was like, I remember this joint. And I was like, this, if I spit the Jeep ass nigga rhymes over this actually might work somewhere. So I went home and I didn't tell the label, I didn't tell Delicious Vinyl I was doing it. I just got a studio session and I started formulating, the track, put a bunch of 808s and stuff like that on it, made it just crazy heavy. Y'all already had 808s going. I added more on top, just made it dumb heavy. And then I redid these rhymes to that beat. I submitted it to Delicious Vinyl when we were working on the next single, which was Slaughterhouse.
Right.
And when I submitted it, they were like, why are we doing remixes for Cheap Ass Nigga? We're off that single. We're on to something else.
Yeah, here we go with the label again.
Yeah, we're not putting this out. I'm like, yo, I had to put my foot down, this is gonna be on the single. Put it on the B side. I don't care if you put it as the last track on the B side, but it's going on there. So me and my manager fought for it. They put it on the B side of the last track. Soon as DJs got it, flipped it over, blew up in San Fran. It started in San Fran, Bay Area, then LA, then Houston. All of a sudden, it's a thing. And now they're like, we need to repress it as a single of its own. Now they scrambling, trying to catch up to this momentum. We got to shoot a video.
Right.
But that's the label stuff. They don't know. They just
have no clue.
Just shut up and listen.
A lot of times, as far as having, I was talking to our producer Shy in the building. I say what's up, my man Shy. I was talking to him earlier because there's something spiritual about formulating something out of nothing and creating it and actually turning it into something that actually really exists.
Yeah.
So a lot of times major corporations like record labels or a lot of the corporations I deal with, like corporate sponsors, pardon me, Angels and Cowboys, but they move like dinosaurs. They don't understand because they're not close enough to the concrete to understand this. You know what I mean? So, you know, for a long time I used to be bitter about it, but now I just totally understand that they'll just never get it. So that's your role as being an entity to actually make them understand. You know,
it's very surprising that no one actually sat there and took your thoughts into consideration because you're so conscious. Like, for instance, you created the alphabet song. When I heard it, I just was like, that is amazing. So for that, I'm still trying to figure out, I guess, understand why these labels are not listening to artists like yourselves that has the ability to orchestrate such magnificent beauty at the end.
Because at the end of the day, for the label, it's all about commercial viability. Is the average hip hop fan gonna hear this and go, wow, this is great? Or are they gonna get it? It's too complicated. It's too, it's above most people's heads. Like it's too intellectual for the fans. And that's what their thinking is.
Right, because they want it to be prenatal. They want everything to be simple, right?
Yes, and I'm dumbing my stuff down trying to appease them. And then Eminem comes out and he's rhyming the most complicated shit ever. And these kids know every word. It was at that moment when Eminem blew up, I was like, I'm not dumbing nothing down no more. I'm just going in. Like, and that was my confirmation. Just rhyme. Just do what you do. Let the chips fall where they may.
Was this before or after Dear Diary?
Before. Definitely before.
And for your fans that might not know necessarily the dissection of Dear Diary, can you kind of explain them a little bit?
Yeah, I wrote Dear Diary because I really believed that was going to be my last album. It was going to be the last song on the album for a reason, because I thought that was my career was going to end on that song, that album, that song. That was how I viewed where I was in my career. I was very clear that I wasn't going to be getting radio spins no more, none of that kind of stuff. But it was just my magnum opus, like my final hurrah. And so Disposable Arts was that record for me, and Dear Diary was that song to put the perfect period on a career at that point. Little did I know that was the beginning of a new career of 20 plus years of record making that there's no way I could have conceptualized 20 more years of album making.
You know who did?
At that point.
God did. He conceptualized it. And he's showing you right there, because you're one of the greatest, I'm telling you. Master Ace in the building. I do want to talk about The Fallen Season, though.
The musical, not the album.
The musical, not the album. The Fallen Season in full effect. Salute to Rhymes Over Beats, my girl Donna in the building.
Always in the building.
Listen, you guys did a phenomenal job. Leschea, you, the whole cast. Talk to us a little about it. I mean, it's your musical. It was a great play, man, and it sparked a question in my mind, like, why don't more people in hip hop do plays?
I think they will after this. You were one of the very choice select few that were actually got to see this reading, because this wasn't like the full production.
Absolutely
you were
not.
there. People were walking around with the scripts in their hands, like. But you still could experience it.
I have this vision. It's me. I'm different.
Exactly. You can picture what you can picture what it would look like with a full set, with a full cast and movement and costumes and all that. Right. So you can picture that.
Music and all that.
Right. So, it took me about 5+ years to write this musical. With the help of Kate Camerata. She's my dramaturge. I never heard that term before. That was I just learned that term. Dramaturge. But she's the person who she's my soundboard. So when once a week we would meet over Zoom, we would read together the new scene that I wrote. She would give me feedback, about the scene. This works, this might not work. I don't think people are gonna get this. Why are you making this character do this? So she would just throw questions at me, which would make me go back in my head and go, okay. And then I would go back and attack it again. And that was the process for like 4 years straight with her over Zoom to get this script to the point where it got to. And Patrick Blake, who was the CEO of Rhymes Over Beats, who created this theater company for hip hop, so that more
Salute to Pat too. Salute to Pat.
so that more
My man,
people,
Pat.
more people like myself can, add something to this theater. We really feel like this is the next step for theater, for Broadway. So I wrote this musical. We had those readings in New York City, which the reaction was overwhelming of the people that were in the room. You came first night, if I believe,
Yes,
right?
I did.
June 1st, right? So June 2nd, the second night, it was packed house, top to bottom. Because a bunch of people fronted the night before that's supposed to be there. Like, we telling people, nah, you can't come, it's full. And then a bunch of people didn't come. So the next night, I'm like, just come.
Yeah.
Because, we were worried about people not having seats. Because, Paul Rosenberg was there. I was like, we can't have Paul not have a seat.
Of course not. Yeah.
Right. So I was trying to be really judicious about how we invited people. But the second night, I'm like, nope. All holes barred. Whoever come.
That's right.
And so we had everybody, and it was a packed house. The reaction was incredible. And from that, we have all of this momentum now. We're talking to a couple of key investors that have seen it or have watched the video of it, and we're just trying to figure out the next step, which is to get this money so that we can open next year, middle of next year in London. That's where we want to start. I want to set this off in London because that was really where my music career started. Majority of my most loyal fans are in Europe. So I just feel like that's the right place to set it off. Broadway can wait until we figure our stuff out, and
Because
then
he Hove in London.
eventually we'll get.
Exactly.
Eventually we'll get to Broadway. But
Yeah, Broadway is having a hard time. They're having a hard time having some sort of stability whatsoever.
And what's the inspiration behind the musical?
the musical, so the musical is it's loosely based on me growing up in Brownsville, but it's not. People think that like that's him. No, like there are aspects of that main character that are me. The grandmother, the mom not being there all the time, the neighborhood, obviously.
Right.
Him being a good student and taking school seriously versus what the neighborhood is saying to him at the same time. But it's based on a young man who's going into his senior year of high school, who is looking to be the first in his family to go to college, but circumstances surrounding his life and his neighborhood are putting all of those hopes and dreams in immediate jeopardy. And so as an audience, it starts off with the jeopardy, like, yo, what's going to happen? So it takes you through this entire ride. It's only really like a 3-day, 4-day
don't
period.
give it away.
Yeah.
No, if you haven't seen it, hopefully you get a chance to see it.
They haven't seen it because we ain't public yet.
Right, this is very true. Huh?
Yeah.
Because I've been.
You the choice few.
I wanted the choice few to see this thing, and it was.
My
it was
invitation
amazing.
will come next.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're in conversation with Newark Symphony Hall about doing a regional production of it there. Just trying to figure out the funding and all of that. But if that happens, by all means,
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna go back.
You mean
Tri-state.
when it happens.
when it happens, tri-state folk will get a chance to see it in its early infancy before we get to London. But yeah, that's in conversation right now.
The point I was trying to make earlier was that Broadway itself. I mean, you'll be better off probably starting in London.
Yeah, for
'Cause
sure.
Broadway is hurting, but they need an infusion of hip hop and color, and
The interesting thing,
they need an infusion of that. So something like this on a grand scale would be very
I was told that Broadway
successful.
doesn't think that hip hop can really work in that space, and so they're just very critical of hip hop stories, of the music working. So
We'll see.
Our producers invited several Broadway producers and investors to those readings.
Hamilton worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's the outlayer.
but
They-
that's nothing, right? Yeah.
So after the reads, I was like, okay, so let me tell me what I want to know what the Broadway people thought. Overwhelming, loved it, loved the music, which surprised me because it's hip hop, it's boom bap in there,
Yeah, of course.
So loved the music, loved the story, loved everything about it. And these are straight Broadway people who don't think hip hop can work on Broadway. So now that's good momentum for us in our story going forward because they've seen it and now they're talking about it. So
we're going back to conceptualizing something. We're going back to them understanding what's going on. We're going back to them not knowing.
Right.
Same thing we just had a conversation about. So, I mean, since when does anybody say, oh, hip-hop will be great in this space that was never occupied by hip-hop before?
Right.
It's only going to take one, and yours is probably going to be the one. And I congratulate you.
Thank you.
Both of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I actually have a few questions from your fans.
Go for it.
So, sir, number one, what is your top 5 songs? Everyone always comes to you and tell you what they love.
Of mine?
Of yours. What is your top 5?
Ooh, that's okay.
She didn't say 3. She said 5.
I know.
Because the Rolodex is crazy.
Because I like different songs for different reasons.
Exactly.
I'm gonna say "Beautiful," one of them.
That's nice.
I'm gonna say "Son of Yvonne."
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
If I pick one from each album, that'd probably be easier. So that's 2 albums right there. I'll say from my first album, I'll say "Brooklyn Battles" from my first album.
Oh, facts.
From Slaughterhouse, I'll say "Mad Ones." From "Sitting on Chrome," I'll say "Born to Roll."
Born to Roll.
And is that 4 or 5? That's 4. I'll say Brooklyn from the me and Marco collab album, because we got our new album is done and it's coming out this year. So
okay, that's what's up.
Yeah, look out for the new album, me and Marco Polo.
And that was actually one of the questions. Will you be releasing new music soon? And if so, where can your fans find it?
And where can they see you perform as well?
Yes, well the album is done. It's coming out this fall. I have a couple of dates I'm doing. I'm doing Coney Island with Special Ed. He's having a Special Ed Presents kind of thing. We're doing Crooklyn out there. And Coney Island, don't quote me on the dates. It's September though. I'm doing there's a couple things in Brooklyn happening, but just follow my IG page because I post stuff once it's official and we got it. I post it then. But there's a couple things in Brooklyn happening, and then but just watch my page. I always post.
Okay.
And would you ever govern your fans the opportunity for a feature?
I do features all the time. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
No, that's right. That's right.
But I do features all the time, and I'm open to collabing with anybody.
As long as it makes sense.
As long as it makes sense, yeah, that's it. Absolutely. I've probably done more features with unheard artists than anybody. Period, including Busta, whoever you want to name. But you gotta dig and find those records. But they exist.
And what happened to Paula Perry?
I don't really know. I don't have a answer for you because I don't really know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And sir, like I mentioned to you off the record, and I told you I would talk to you on air about it. You are phenomenal and amazing, but unfortunately, I cannot listen to your music. Your music makes me cry. The Son of Yvonne is the most beautiful record I've ever heard in my life. Also, the story of me,
I'ma cry.
based upon all your hardships and why you created Fight Song, just so many different things. And it's just been a blessing to learn all about your past, present, and your future. You are amazing. You asked me why I can't listen to your music.
I get it.
And that is why.
Thank
You
you.
have not received your flowers enough. So it is an honor. And I am just amazed and thankful for your creativity. And your mother is very, very proud.
There you go. Salute.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for being here today. We're going to wrap this up, but I want to say thank you so much for being here, brother. My man, listen, Master Ace in the building, Leschea in the building. We'll get that chicken next time. We ain't going to play no games. We ain't gonna play no games. That's the behind the scenes. That's a behind the scenes joke. But real talk, man. Master Ace should be given his flowers. Understand what he represents. He represents what I grew up with, what I love. True hip hop artist, true artist of any type. It's my guy. Like Flavor Flav would say, my knuckle, my nerve, my jelly preserve. You know what I mean? We go back like camel humps and suede fronts. Understand? This has been the T-Money Podcast joint featuring Ciara Ross, Leschea, and my man Master Ace. Peace, 2 fingers. And we out. Thank you so much.
See y'all.
T-Money Podcast joint.